Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to explain a bit on how the structure for people management should look like. So if you look at the general overview of the structure, then you can see how it's being categorized. So instead of doing it like products, like we have separate tiers. So for PM structure, most of the time you will look at the number of members that you have and also how many products that you are running. So it's basically decided by the scale of your LCs and also the number of people that you have. Okay, so let's look into how it's going to be. So generally, if you look for your LCVP JD, so what you are going to do, I think it would be the same like what you have done in first semester. So I think the only difference is that in your replanning itself, you are going to decide what are the focuses that you want to focus on the second half of your semester, right? Okay, so and what is the main competencies that we are looking for LCEP? In LCEPs would be data savvy level 3 and improve continuously at level 3 as well. So your direct team leaders would be your LCP, and so a special note here for get process, if you are only have one person, okay, so later I will explain it together with you. So if you look at your own LC situation and your operation skill right now, so basically you can categorize yourself in in the few different categories. So I think for members with less than 30 members and you only have two products, I think LCs like Kuching, they are running this structure right now. So for example, if you only have less like 30 members or less, around that amount of number of members, there is no need for additional people responsible for TM process. And the refresh TM process can be implemented by LCPPM in synergy with other LCVPs. So if you're looking it into the criteria of who, it basically explain like team leaders' responsibility is to implement team standards, right? So with that picture have in mind, a lot of processes that you have in TM process, a lot of them are responsibility of team leaders, because eventually TM process implementation is to make sure that team leaders can carry out team standards. So this is the reason why there is no need for members if you have less than 30 members in your LCs. Okay, so if that's the case, if you only have one LCVP in your team, this is the part that it mentioned, like get process can be run in project base with flexible PIC assigned. For example, if you only have one person in this structure, then perhaps you can form additional OC team, okay, assign another OCP from other function. So I think the best scenario right now is that, for example, for LCs that you only have one LCVPs, or maybe your director resign or dismiss, don't worry about that, because if you are worried about GET, then this is the possible solution for you. So you don't need to recruit another director, but instead you can assign GET process for OCP, open application for people who are interested in OCP in applying for PM for next term, and you can have extra opportunities for them. So at the same time is that you can actually screen through who are the potentials that can take up your LCP role in next term by having more opportunities for the people that are not in PM itself. So this is actually one of the very good touch point for them to get to know more about PM. Okay, so if you have more than one directors, then or you have one directors, then the allocation is very flexible. So for example, Spring MRD will be fall under LCVP, OC volunteer will be fall under PM coordinator, OCP will be for MRD. So this is also how GET will not be a permanent JD for PM coordinators, because GET is a very project-based events. Okay, so if you look into the second tier or the second cluster, then if your membership is among 30 to 45 members, you are running about two products, then you are encouraged to have one PM coordinators. So why is it so? Because if your EBMT size is around 10 to 15 people, this is the additional note. Like if you are asking me like if I have less than 30 I have around 30 members, then should I, like, yeah, slightly more than 30 members, should I implement this structure? But for me is that if you have around 30 to 35 members and your EBMT size is actually less than 10, I think it's okay for you not to have a PM coordinator. So this is the additional condition. So other than looking at membership size, what's more important is looking at your EBMT size. So if your EBMT size is around 10 to 15 people, then there's a possibility to have a PM coordinator is to focus on supporting LCP implementing TM process. Okay, so LCBPM will be focusing on product department and supporting department. Meanwhile, PM coordinator can manage non-focused product. So for example, if OGV is your focus product, then it should be fall under LCP PM and the rest like your FL, okay, or B2C if you have B2C. Then meanwhile, PM coordinator will be the one that managing maybe IGV or IGT or IGE if your LCs are running that as non-focused product. So, but one to take note is that because we are not recruiting any newbies for PM back offices, the reason behind is that PM coordinator needs to have a strong leadership experience and showing minimum level 2 of core competence. Okay, so the JD of it for PM coordinator A, as I mentioned here, is that these are the things that you are going to do mainly. So IXP is also depends on how it's fall under your JD. It can be still be flexible. It's okay. For example, if LCV PM is the one that in charge of OGV department, definitely it makes more sense for LCV PM to take up the IXP KPI, this part of it, because it's easier for you to have synergy with LCP OGV. Okay, so LC engagement touchpoints can fall under LCP or PM coordinator based on the objectives of the touchpoint. Other than that, the process of implementation can involve EB team to improvise the fulfillment. So why am I saying this? So is because, for example, previously in LC in UPM, when I was the LC VP, everyone would basically take turns in hosting LCM, okay, LCM as my LC engagement touchpoint. So it's actually feasible and doable if you have early coordination and expectation setting for your LCEB. So the part of it is that if you want to get all of your EB team to get out of it and get more like facilitation experience, this is one of the very good touch point for you to start to train your LCVPs in order for them to be better at in facilitating skills, and in return they will be a better team leaders, because if you look at all the skill sets that you need to have as a team leader is basically to facilitate your team members' experience. So this is how I would suggest. So the main idea of it is that when you have more EBMTs, most probably you need to coordinate with more people. So therefore, that's the reason of you to have additional PM coordinators that can help you to overlook like other functions in terms of synergies. And definitely, internal com implementation can be taken up by these directors as well, or these PM coordinators, okay? So it can be a team members, but if your team members have, it can be a team members or team leaders. For me, is that most importantly, you need to have level 2 competencies, okay? So in general, I would just call them as PM coordinators. So if you look at the next layer, and also the last one, it would be if you have more than 45 members and running more than 2 products, then for me is that you can have 2 coordinators maximum. It's the same idea as well. So they have to have at least level 2 competencies. Okay. So by the difference of JD, if you look at it, is that yep. So for PM coordinator B, yeah. So here for that is B and C. So for PM coordinator B is that other than effectiveness of team standards for non-focused product, productivity, internal com. So basically, it's just the replicates of like what needs to happen for LCVPs is the same as what needs to happen for the PM coordinator as well. So, but a bit of difference is that because internal com is fall under this person, so another elements that you have to look into is that so basically this person will be taking out most of the team standards element, right? Okay, so this would be the one that taking out most of the developed element. Okay, so definitely in terms of JD, you can be more flexible based on your reality, but I think the number of coordinators based on my experience is that if your LCs are not running that huge, even like if UNMC, you just need maximum 2. Okay, so the idea of it is that you can separate it based on products, because if you have more than 2 products, then it's good to have each directors to take out each products, or And then another thing is that to take care of the elements, for example, engagements, then it can be fall under PM Coordinator C because it's about the development element as well. Or if you want to put it under team standards, it's also okay because eventually, if you want to ensure that delivery of team standards is LCs by team leaders, then it's all fall back to team standards implementation, like this PM coordinator. Okay, so it also depends on who are better at what. So for example, if your PM coordinator B is handling GET process, then maybe LC's engagement can fall under PM coordinator C. So definitely is to review back the objective that you have for each touch points and what makes more sense for them to handle. Okay, so but generally I want you to remember is that this is the main idea of it. Okay, so please remember to refer back to the notes. It's not about the number of coordinators that you have. It's not about whether you have your pipeline or not, but strategically, how are you going to make full use of the structure and the people that you have? Okay, I can guarantee you if you have members inside your structure, if you are recruiting like members with very with level 1 competencies, you might not get the effectiveness of your implementation out from your members because they don't know how to run a product yet. Okay, so and they don't understand like how for example Isaac runs in a way, like how the team members, team leaders system works, how the organizational structure works. It's very hard for them to provide insights to the team leaders. So, and another additional note is that are your team leaders going to listen to a newbie regarding implementation advices? It's not going to be done that well as well. So just bear in mind, this would be a very good reference for you to refer to. And if you have any questions regarding like flexible JD, and if you have a bit of worry about your pipeline for PM, feel free to talk to me definitely so that we can plan ahead on, we can discuss a bit on what are the solutions that we can have instead of blindly recruiting people into your function. Okay, so that's all. Thanks, peeps.